Two, one.
Welcome to the Partnership for National Unity press conference for October 24, 2025. Joining today's presser is Mr. Aubrey C. Norton, Member of Parliament, leader of the APNU. Today's press statement will be read by the leader.
Justice Cummins resumes duty as was expected. The APNU wishes to make it very clear that in the President's letter dated 10 July 2025 to the Leader of the Opposition, it was clearly stated that Justice Yonette Cummins Edward was granted 3 months leave and that she will be on leave until the 15th October 2025. Consequently, he appointed Justice Roxanne George SC to act as Chancellor for the 3 months that Justice Yonette Cummins Edwards was going to be on leave. Consequently, it follows that on the resumption of duty by Justice Cummins, she will be the acting Chancellor and that Justice George will revert to being the acting Chief Justice. This is the APNU understanding of the present situation. There is a national water crisis. The APNU notes with grave concern the emergence of a national water crisis, which is impacting households, communities, and businesses across the country. The impact is severe in Region 4. This water crisis is negatively impacting essential services, hospitals, schools, government agencies, and hotels. This crisis has significant consequences for our society. It is resulting in poor sanitation in schools across the country, and therefore will affect the health of teachers and children and must be addressed urgently. During the APNU community outreach programs, residents in nearly all communities visited on the east coast of Demerara, east bank of Demerara, Georgetown in Region 3 and other regions have expressed their dismay and concern about the poor quality water they are receiving, the limited quantity, and the many hours they have to endure without potable water. Many citizens complain that the water is almost always brown to rust red. The pressure is generally low, and that water is no longer available 24 hours a day in many of these communities. Guyana Water Inc. continues to offer excuses for the poor services being provided to residents in a country which is, I quote, land of many waters, unquote. While many opening ceremonies are hosted for new wells, the citizens of Guyana are not benefiting from improved water service. We call on the government of Guyana and the management of GWI to urgently address this water crisis as it is causing severe hardship on our citizens. Many stated that sometimes for days they do not get water flowing through their taps. This water crisis is forcing citizens to purchase water and increase their cost of living. The time is now when Guyanese must enjoy quality water as part of a plan to improve the quality of life of all Guyanese and to reduce poverty in Guyana. Thank you.
Thank you very much. At this time, I'll open the floor for questions on the press statement. Mr. Adam Harris.
Very good morning, all. Yeah, I just tuned in. Was the statement on water the only thing?
No. We spoke to Justice Cummins resuming duty as was expected.
All right. One question then I would like to ask on that situation. On social media, there are many comments about the acting Chief Justice not demitting Justice George's office. Is that statement accurate?
Like you, I saw it in the media. I cannot say whether it is true or not. What I can say is what we said in the press statement, that in the president's letter, he indicated that Justice Cummins was going on 3 months leave and that the Chancellor, the Chief Justice will act as Chancellor and Devendra Singh will act as Chief Justice. From my understanding of the letter and the intent of it, the intention was for Justice Cummins to get her leave, and once the leave has come to an end, she will return as Chancellor acting, and Justice Roxanne George will revert to acting as
Chief Justice.
Chief Justice.
Commercial news source, Mr. Norton, the clerk of the National Assembly said that you remain the leader of the opposition until a new leader is sworn in. Given the concern or the present situation with regards to the return of the acting chancellor and then the displacement of the Chief Justice, the acting Chief Justice, Roxanne George, would you be writing the president to seek clarity if the situation persists?
Well, I don't know what clarity there is to seek. As I understand it, like I said in the press statement, you had a situation where the Chancellor acting was going on leave, and the president in his letter said to ensure that the service continued, that Justice Roxanne George will act as Chancellor and Devendra Singh will act as
Chief Justice.
Chief Justice. It follows to me logically that on her return from leave, the Justice Cummins will continue to act as Chancellor and Justice Wiltshire will be Chief Justice and revert to the status quo ante. So that is my understanding. So far, I have not heard from the president, and I have not heard that the status quo ante wasn't restored. And therefore, I see no need to write the president on this issue because the president's very letter stated that she was going on leave and it was a normal procedure.
Sure, but the reality on the ground is, based on reliable information received, is that Justice Devendra Singh is still in the Chief Justice's chamber, and so it therefore means, based on what we're seeing, that he's still the acting Chief Justice. And so that where does the Justice George fits in? That's the question.
I don't think.
Isn't that a concern? Isn't that a concern?
I don't think there's a question here. To me, the present Chancellor acting as of the 15th is Justice Cummins. The Chief Justice acting is Roxanne George Wiltshire. I don't see a problem here. The president, I think clearly, should indicate to whoever it is that that is the status quo at present.
Okay, you're saying that the president should offer clarity on the situation as to who really is the Chancellor acting and Chief Justice acting?
I'm saying based on the president's letter itself, the status quo is at present Chancellor acting, Justice Cummins, Chief Justice Roxanne George, and whoever should revert to where they were.
So, you know, this is an interesting situation. Acting appointments can be terminated or can be revoked by whoever offers the acting appointment. Is there a possibility then that the government has decided that it doesn't want Justice George to act anymore and is therefore revoking that appointment and allowing Justice Devendra Singh to continue in that post?
I wouldn't speculate. I will watch to see what happens and then I will comment. But I think if we judge from the letter the president wrote, then that shouldn't be the case. But if that becomes the case, it's a new situation for us to address.
But sir, it can wait, you know, look, a lot of the things have been happening and we have been waiting for clarity from the government, and the government has been making statements and changing those statements at the drop of a hat without informing anybody. Therefore, is there a possibility that the government has revoked Justice George's acting appointments, since acting appointments are what they are, acting appointments, and can be terminated?
Even if that is the case, then it should be in writing. I don't want to speculate. I've seen no evidence that that was done. So I don't need to speculate. I need to observe, see what is happening, and then we comment as is necessary.
Thank you. I see the hand of Guy TV9.
Hi, good morning. Calling neighbor of Stan's TV9 News. I just want to ask Mr. Norton, President apparently announced a date for Parliament. Can we speak to that? Let's talk about your confidence in the team heading into the National Assembly. And have you been in talks with FGN and when who will be the leader of the opposition heading into these next Parliament?
No, I've had no discussion on who will be leading the opposition. We have identified a competent team that I believe can handle the issues that emerge in Parliament. I will be there to advise as is necessary politically, but I don't want to speculate. I know under the law, all the members of Parliament will meet and elect an opposition leader. I will wait the outcome of that.
Quick question, sir. Has there been any move for the combined opposition to have a meeting to discuss issues on the issue of the Lindenton Council, of the Region 10 elections? It was said that there was no meeting, so people were therefore left to their own devices. Do you propose to have a meeting of the combined opposition to have all these issues ironed out so that there could be a decision? Because there is nothing to stop the combined opposition, for example, from allowing the PNC to continue as opposition leader.
Well, again, I wouldn't become involved in that kind of discussion. I think the members of Parliament from both sides will meet and discuss. Like I said, I'm here to give advice. I don't know that we put in any request to continue as opposition leader or anything of the sort. We believe that the people will meet and they will make their decisions.
No, sir, but the main question is, has there been an effort for a meeting of the combined opposition? Have you summoned, let us say, Mr. Mohammed, Mr. Manson Walton this year, to meet with you people so that the combined opposition could have a position when they get into Parliament?
Exactly.
As far as I'm aware, no such thing was done. What I know, we have discussed and we have worked out a number of options, and we will engage as it's necessary.
Thank you. I see the hand of Ms. Khadija Ba.
Thank you very much. Good morning, Mr. Norton and everyone else. As it relates to the killings in the Southern Caribbean by the U.S., does the APNU have a position on that?
You have not been
Killings
clear.
of who?
You haven't.
Sorry, there have been a few killings over the past few months by the U.S. in the Southern Caribbean. Does the APNU have a position or a take on that?
I assume you're talking about the bombing of those boats that the government, U.S. government,
yes,
alleges that are narco trafficking. No, The first,
Yes.
the first thing I would say is this. The rule of law should prevail both at the local level and at the international level. It's first thing. The second thing I would say, I do not think anybody should be bombed just because they are labeled as narco traffickers. In fact, I believe the United States has the capacity to capture them and bring them to trial. But I cannot ever support a situation where a sovereign state bombs people in another sovereign state over so-called drug trafficking. I will have difficulty, the APNU will have difficulty supporting that. We are anti-drug trafficking. We want to see drug trafficking reduced and ultimately gotten rid of, but it has to be done within the confines of the law.
Thank you.
Thank you.
The floor is still open for questions.
Hi, good morning. Can I speak?
Ms. Garnett, yes, you may go ahead.
Hi, good morning. I'm on a device and I couldn't find the raise hand feature.
That's okay.
I have a question. My first question is, I don't know if you may have commented on it because I came in a bit late. The Devon Sears drug charge. I don't know if you've commented on it. How do you see this affecting I know he's an ASC member and not a member of the ACNU, but do you see this as a blow to the collective opposition, and what are your thoughts on that situation?
Well,
I have another question after.
Well, I can answer the first one. Is you already assume he's guilty. All I would say here is that, like every human being in this society, he should be presumed innocent until he's proven guilty. We are saying the same thing when it comes to other crimes committed in the society, but we seem to just want to make Devon Sears guilty. I hold no brief for him, but all I would say to you, he should be assumed innocent until proven guilty. And that should apply across the board.
My next question is pertaining to the MP seats. Can you say about Mr. Christopher Jones? He served the party in a major way over the past few years. He was the chief whip and is considered a young, bright mind. Can you say what if there's any particular reason why he was not selected to return to Parliament in this go-around?
I am obligated to speak with Christopher Jones. I keep doing that. I don't know that I'm obligated to say to you anything about the rationale for what has happened in our party.
No, it's not saying it to me, but to the wider public. You were elected. The party was elected by the wider public.
And the party
Don't
chose.
you believe you owe the wider public an explanation on the selection of the member parliaments? The member parliaments are representing
the party
the
chose,
wider public, including myself.
The party chose its 12 persons, and in the party, we give clear rationale. We consider Christopher Jones to be a very useful person, a politician, but you have to name 12 people. There were clear criteria set out. They were named. Christopher Jones wasn't in it. It doesn't mean by any chance we do not believe that he is a quality member. He is, but choices had to be made.
And I don't know if you ever actually spoke about this as well, but did you ever approach speak about the issue with Mr. Sherwin Holder as well? Because I know there was his resignation. I don't know if the party ever spoke about if there's a particular reason why he was not sent back to the National Assembly. Can you comment on that, please?
Like I said to you, we have named 12 persons. We discussed with the people in the party. There's a clear rationale for what was done, and it's the party's decision, and we are happy that we made the decisions we made.
Thank you. Mr. Adam Harris?
Yeah, currently look. A couple of things have been happening. Yes, the loss of the elections must have been very galling, and but while the party appears to be in some of disarray, yet the work we're seeing doesn't suggest that there have been fan-out exercises and all of this going on. What role are you playing at the moment in the development of the party? Are you coordinating these fan-out exercises? Are you one?
We have identified a young person who is coordinating the fan-out exercise. They are ongoing. We are going to widen to cover the entire country. And we just don't, it's not just fan-out, it is community engagement. In fact, the first part of the press statement emerged from the exercise we are carrying out. We are listening to people, why they voted, how they voted. We're doing our analysis, but we are also obligated to represent the people's interests, which we're doing. As it relates to what I am doing, I am primarily responsible for rebuilding the party and put it on the kind of footing that we need to have it on. And so a lot of what I will do will be aimed at reactivating party groups, rebuilding the party, among other things. In fact, I opted not to go to Parliament to be able to do that kind of work.
Thank you.
Mr. Clark, do you feel like since these last elections, you should be the one to do that? Saying that you lost so abysmally in these last elections, do you feel like you should be the one to still be in control of the party, or should someone else take over at this point?
The political party has a structure. The leader of the party is determined by the Congress. We will have a Congress, and whoever the party decides that that Congress is the leader of the party will be the leader of the party. We have always been a democratic party in which our representatives come from across the country, vote for who they want, and that is going to happen at the next Congress.
So, I understand you are suggesting that, look, perhaps you should take a back seat. But are you really bent on taking a back seat and let things go how they are? Because we're hardly hearing anything from you. As a matter of fact, it's the first time we are engaging with you at a press conference. Are you simply fading into the background to let things go? Or are you going to be as active as you were when you were really opposition leader, or you remain the leader of the party? Are you going to still be in the background?
Well, I don't consider myself to be in the background. I consider myself, I have been up and about for 4 years straight in the field all over the country. And so I felt that I needed to take a rest and then go back full in terms of working for the party, giving leadership to the party. Many people were critical of how our former leader, David Granger, left after the 2020 elections. And I'm very careful not to make that same mistake. I intend to lead the party, put it on a proper footing. I've already made it clear that I have no intention of running as a presidential candidate in upcoming elections. But I believe it is my duty to work with the party to ensure we strengthen and do the things we need to do to succeed.
Thank you. Ms. Garnett? I see the floor is still open for a few more questions. Mr. Chabral? I'm not hearing you. All right.
Hi, can I go?
One.
Sorry, I'm having an issue with my laptop today. Sorry about that.
Go ahead.
Yeah, my next question, again, I'm not sure this may have been a redundant question, if something may have come up before. What are the plans to, this is Ms. Norton, what are the plans to reform the party? Of the criticism that the party has been, that has been directed at the party over the past few weeks since the election, what are some of the biggest criticism that the party has accepted and realized that these are the things that we need to work on improving? Has that been any?
Our party has been analyzing the situation. We have seen a number of things that we need to relook, including our public relations, among other things, how we engage with people in communities. We are satisfied that in the last election, we put together an extremely good team. We had a very good manifesto. We were out in the field doing a lot of work, but it was the first elections in which millions of dollars was spent on bribing. For instance, in Linden, we are aware of the kind of money that was spent. And so we recognize moving forward that one of the critical things in future elections in this economy will be money.
Thank you. A follow-up to that. You're saying that money played a big role in these elections, but we also saw in these elections that we had some of the lowest turnout as of recent time in terms of elections. Would you still say you put together a good team, even though there was such a low turnout, in spite of the fact that money may have pulled some supporters and electors away from the party? There was generally also a low turnout. So if money was involved, how come there was still a low turnout of electors as well as a reduced votes for the party? How do you connect the dots?
First, let me say this to you. I don't know what you mean by a low turnout. Basically, I believe that close to the existing population turnout. We have always argued that the list was bloated. And so I don't know on what basis you arrive at the level of turnout. As it relates to the performance in the election, like I said, we thought we had a good manifesto. We had interesting young candidates, etc. But bribery played a critical role. And I can give you examples of cases where persons who are supporters of the APNU were actually bribed, and now they say to you, they're sorry, they made a mistake, but they thought voting in that particular direction would help the opposition. It's a reality that we have to live with, analyze it, and move forward.
Thank you. All right, I'll take 2 other questions. Mr. Adam Harris, go ahead.
Yeah. Only 2 questions. All right. Look, Mr.
Hi, sorry. Can I say a follow-up to my last question?
We're having your internet. We're having a feed. Miss Garnett.
Martin had said he was asking how I came to the fact that there was a low turnout. There was at the last election.
I didn't get it.
We're trying to hear you, but your feedback on your internet is giving a bit of a trouble. I'm going to take Mr. Adam Harris' question in the meantime. Mr. Harris.
Yeah, thank you. So, we know that rumors abound. We know that you have been perhaps one of the most vilified politicians in recent times. Another rumor is going around that you have been aligned with the PPP. In short, they're saying you are in the PPP pocket. So could you address that issue?
I could say without fear of successful contradiction, I'm in nobody's pocket. I can say without fear of successful contradiction, I've received no money from anyone outside of the salary I would have gotten. And I I am well disposed to an open investigation, since one of the things I cherish is the fact that I have never compromised myself. I am happy for the integrity in my life over the years, and there is no way I'm going to be compromised or be bought by anyone. But it is the nature of the game. People will always say, look, the amount of things I've heard people said about me that are untrue, it has become normal. And this is not there are a lot of people who set out there, go out there to suggest who's in whose payroll. I can only speak for me. I'm in no one's payroll. I have not been involved in corruption and will continue to operate like that.
Mr. Shabral?
Good morning, Mr. Norton. Mr. Norton, my first question is, how do you think Guyana should navigate the current crisis in the Caribbean, where we've seen Trinidad and Tobago taking its own position with respect to the US's military presence in the region, as opposed to the rest of the Caribbean, and of course, Guyana is somewhat sympathetic to that cause as well. And how do you see Guyana navigating that in terms of avoiding any collateral damage? We're hearing of plans for a change in Venezuela. That's my first question.
First and foremost, in Guyana's case must be our interest. Our interest lies in us ensuring that we protect our territorial integrity and sovereignty. Now, the world has changed. There are many actors in the world. It's no longer a unipolar world. It's a multipolar world. And therefore, coordination of our foreign policy at the CARICOM level is a very useful tool. We should be engaging with other CARICOM countries to ensure that we have a common position. The United States has its interests and will pursue its interests. We have our interests, we must pursue our interests. We are cognizant of the fact that we are a small nation and we do not have a lot of the tools at our disposal. And therefore, diplomacy is what is needed at this stage. That will first demand that we have a proper foreign service. And I think there is need for a foreign minister that understands the issues in the world and be able to allow Guyana to navigate this complex world and ensure that we protect our territorial integrity and not be played by one against the other, but utilizing the existent international situation to our advantage. There are areas in which we have strengths, there are areas in which we have weaknesses. We know we are not a military power, but we know that in Guyana there exists the brain power to engage, ensure our positions are understood, and move forward.
Thank you.
My second question is, are all of the parliamentarians going for the APNU members of the People's National Congress Reform?
I didn't get that. Go that again.
Are all of the persons who are going to Parliament representing the APNU members of the People's National Congress Reform?
No. The answer is no. David Hines isn't. He's a representative of the WP.
And what about Dr. Terence Campbell?
What about him?
Is he a member of the PNC?
As far as I'm aware, yes. All the other persons going would have joined the PNC.
Okay. When did he join?
Now, why do I have to say to you, when did he join? You can engage Dr. Campbell and he will tell you. But I don't think it is my task to go there to tell you when he joined, when this person joined. That don't make sense to me.
Mr. Norton, can you say when's the next PNC Congress?
When is the next PNC Congress? The party Central Executive and General Council will decide it.
You don't know when yet?
No, there's no date as yet.
Sir,
Mr. Shabral was not finished. Go ahead, Mr.
I
Shabral.
have a follow. Yes. What I've been hearing in some circles that basically Mr. Campbell has been hoisted on the party as a newcomer, probably not even a member, but you did say he's a member, to lead the APNU's grouping in Parliament. So how do you respond to that? You, like, as a newcomer, is being hoisted to represent the party and the APNU at a senior level in Parliament, as opposed to people who have been in the party longer?
You know, when you're making political decisions, you have to look at a number of variables. And the persons who are in the parliamentary group are comfortable with the leadership of Mr. Campbell. And we believe at this stage, as a businessman, he's one of the best persons to choose at this point of time. He has shown commitment to the cause over the period that he has been there. And while people believe that Mr. Campbell just emerged, I can say this to you clearly, for about 2 years or more, we have been engaging and had assistance, and we have assisted as well. So for us, the parliamentary team is comfortable with Mr. Campbell there, and he has been placed there. You know, this country is a funny country. On the one hand, people call for a breath of fresh air. And then when you give them a breath of fresh air, so what happened to the ones that were there all the time? It has to be a skillful combination. And I think we have a skillful combination of 6 newcomers and 6 experienced persons. But I'm well aware that you cannot satisfy people. Had I put one who has been there all the time that they hear, oh, nobody can be attracted to him because he's old PNC style. People are never going to be pleased, but we have to make decisions. We make the decision as rational as we could so we can move forward.
Thank you. Mr. Harris wanted to ask a question, and I think Ms. Garnett, I'll take those 2 questions.
Yeah, my question, you talked about attracting young people, and indeed you have attracted some young people. But one of the problems over the years was getting the people, and some of these young people, to do the footwork. A lot of them were claiming that, well, they got to get paid and all of this. I don't know how you would overcome that. But are these young people as dedicated as you would like them to be in the drive to rebuild the party? And one other quick question. Loyalty. In the Region 4 elections, there was this confusion. Shanika, well, Apnu had 9 votes on the council, but Shanika ended up with 8, which would suggest that one member of the council either abstained or voted with the PPP. At the same time, Amanza's party, I think Forward Guyana, said that she voted with APNU. And you still at 8. So it would suggest that 2 members either did not participate, but I didn't say so, or 1 voted for PPP. How are you testing the loyalty of these people that you have appointed to positions?
Well, the persons that have been appointed to positions are persons who come from within the party, and there's a certain amount of loyalty. I don't believe that there's much use value in doing a post-mortem in what happened in Region 4. In fact, we have been running, there's now the formal takeover of Region 4. But if you know from 2015 to sorry, from 2020 to 2025, the 4 people never did operate in the interest of the PNC and the APNU. They were serving other masters. And so that is a reality. Now, I do not believe that there's much use value in going pointing your finger at who might have done what. That will not help us. The task is to put people together and move forward.
Thank you.
Miss,
one moment. Mr. Colwyn, one moment. I did say that I will give Ms. Garnett the floor. And because you've interjected, I'll allow you one last question. Ms. Garnett?
Can you guys hear me okay?
Yes, we're hearing you a little better. You have your last question.
Oh, okay. Thank you so much. Sorry, my apologies for the internet situation. I have blackout. So I'm on my phone. It is what it is. My question is a follow-up to my early question about what Mr. Norton said about being happy about the team that he put together for the elections that passed on September 1st. And you had questioned what I meant by low turnout. I know that you're saying that the list was bloated, but when I say low turnout, I was speaking directly about the votes that were cast, which was less than, because we had about, I think, 460,000 votes approximately in 2015, whereas in this go around we had, I think, about 430 something thousand votes total. That's for all the parties, them talking the valid votes. That's what I meant by low turnout. So which means that even if some parties would have, if your claim is true, that some parties would have taken some electors due to spending, and we saw increased spending this go around, how is it that we saw increased spending, low voter turnout, in addition to lower votes for the AFC? How do you reconcile all of that and still say that you're happy with the campaign that you put together when you got lower votes in an environment where there were lower voter turnouts as well, even if there was more money involved?
Well, you just, the figures you give suggest that there was 15,000 less votes this time. So you had 460,000, 435,000. 460 in 2020, 435. So the claim about low voter turnout is questionable. Added to it, the rigging machinery. Let us not forget that. I believe that really and truly, the figures don't show the reality. Because if the figures had shown the reality, there might have been less people voting. Now, as it relates to bribery, no one will doubt what I will say now. In these elections, I would say which political party, but they bribed 2 shows. They bribed persons who would normally support us. I can tell you in Linden, you could go and check the amount of motorcycles that was purchased for people. We can run the whole gamut, but we are looking forward. We have seen in this last election a number of things that we will have to address. And mind you, one of the things that caused some of the situation is the view that some people in our base had this view that supporting another political party outside of the PPP would have changed. So there are a lot of areas. Now, I believe that the average person on the ground knows full well the kind of money that was spent to achieve what they achieved. We have analyzed it, and moving forward, we will cater for that situation.
Thank you.
But no one can remove from this fact that this last elections, 2025 election, was a different election, in terms of the levels of bribery that occurred with it in it.
I have the final question from Colwyn, if I'm pronouncing his name correctly.
I'll leave time to go. That's fine. Let time to go.
Okay. Ms. Garnet?
Mr. Martin, if the bribery was to the extent that you said it was, and you have this knowledge or perhaps evidence of it, is there a particular reason why the APNU did not choose to go forward and challenge the elections, given that this bribery, vote buying is actually illegal? Or how, is there any avenue for the APNU to address this situation if you're claiming that vote buying took place and it was on such a widespread scale?
The avenue.
Why is there no challenge to the elections?
Well, you cannot challenge it through an election petition. The area that it should be dealt with, it is through election campaign financing. Guyana virtually does not have laws governing election financing. And mind you, this whole thing about bribery has to be looked at in its context. You know, the PPP impoverished African Guyanese community to do just that. Unfortunately, another party benefit from their scheme. And that reality we face, and again, we'll have to address it.
Thank you. All right. I want to thank our media personnel for joining today's...
Permitted.
Go ahead, Mr. Shabra.
Dr. Norton, I know you said that there aren't laws dealing with campaign financing, but there is a section in the Representation of the People Act that requires parties to submit the expenses. Has your party done so? Will it do so?
Could you tell me when in the history of this country it was done? And then I will answer you.
But so then, because it was never done, then it should not be done. That's what you're saying?
I'm saying that there should be laws governing campaign financing, and that they should be implemented and all parties should be involved.
Not one.
So why not at least lead the way by using the existing law? What's wrong with that?
You will have to identify people who would have helped you and don't want their names, etc., disclosed. And unless you have it within a particular framework, what you'll be doing is damaging yourself, because a lot of people who even help you finance say in very clear terms, they do not want it to be public. They don't want the government to know. There's a fear in this society for the government. And so I don't see what sense is there in us going out there and advertising who we got money from and accounting in that fashion. We must do it internally, but not at that level. What the country needs is proper election financing laws.
Thank you.
That will provide for secrecy at the same time, or confidentiality.
Yeah, it should, yes. Well, once you develop the laws properly and the stakeholders are involved, you should arrive at some kind of a formula. But a lot of its success will be dependent on the change in the political culture in Guyana. Guyana is a society in which there is fear. People want to benefit and continue to benefit from government. Let us not forget that the major allocator of resources in Guyana is the government. Sometimes we go on like if Guyana is a free enterprise economy. It really isn't. It is a state-controlled economy with some private sector activities. The coming of Exxon might have shifted the balance, but outside of ExxonMobil, it's a society that is dominated by state resources.
Thank you.
Are you saying that the people at the starting of government not provide for confidentiality and disclose the expenses?
I'm saying that we need to reform the laws to ensure that when election comes, There are rules governing financing, there are rules governing reporting, and the society can have an approach that is rooted in the rule of law rather than the whims and fancies of one or the other political party.
Thank you.
All right. I just one word of advice to the comrade leader.
Go ahead.
Chief, I think you rest too long. You say you've been taking a rest and all of this. I think you got to step forward because at this rate, it looks as though the party is slumbering. You have a long rest, some of a month. Some people don't get that.
When I say rest, I didn't mean that I wasn't doing work. I have been working, but I will. If you're talking about the field work, in a month's time, I will return to the field work, but I continue to do what is being done. And mind you, we have a number of new people who we are exposing and will develop the experience to help in this process. But I hear your concern, and you will see me up and around once I'm leading the party.
Thank you very much. I want to thank our media personnel for joining today's press conference, and we do hope that our viewing audience as well do enjoy a wonderful weekend.